It's not just Olson finding piles of debris like this one or these uprooted trees across the river in their front yards. It's people all across Kirk County. But still, officials are unclear about when a cleanup will begin or how long it'll take. All the debris from the flooding in Burnett and Travis and Williamson County all comes here to be processed into mulch at this facility. But action from Trump and Abbott hasn't stopped protesters from arriving in full force. At Auditorium Shores behind me, hundreds of protesters gather, all carrying one message. Navarro is the co-director of the Campus Environmental Center, one of the many groups dedicated to keeping Waller Creek clean. Because beyond just acting as a home for campus wildlife, Navarro and others say this creek is an integral part of Longhorn culture. And as closing day draws near, for Donhauser, emotions are flying high, just like this ride. Spaces like these aren't a new concept. We're here in downtown Austin where we got a table, some chairs, all right here in front of the Royal Blue Grocery. The Guadalupe River is calm, a stark contrast to the hill country floods that happened here 3 weeks ago.
Kendall County was blessed in one critical way. There have been no reports of missing residents from within Kendall County itself.
State leaders say there are still 2 people missing from these floods, but there has been no indication their bodies are in Kendall County. So, they're starting cleanup. This area near the Guadalupe River is one of the hardest hit, with piles of debris standing at over 6 feet tall, meaning this will be one of the first areas to be cleaned.
Crews are going to begin tomorrow in Alpha section, progressing through each section sequentially from Alpha to Echo.
County officials expect the cleanup to last from 8 to 10 weeks. Debris will be moved to a state-approved location so it can be properly disposed of at a later date.
Is not a dump site where a private citizen can go with a truckload of material to deliver. It won't be accepted. The only trucks that will be going in and out of that site will be the debris removal. And
Kendall County has also created a call center so residents can get up-to-date information on the cleanup. Those able to remove debris from their property are able to leave it near the right-of-way, where contractors will carry it off free of charge. Those unable to move debris will be helped at a later date.
We have a 50-acre site that the county owns that TCEQ approved for the deposit of all of the trash and debris. It's a temporary location, but all trash and debris is going to be taken to this location.
Joseph Sweeney, KSAT 12 News.
We're just shy of 4 months. We're a full-blown coffee bar, transitions into a nightlife.
Corey Shaw is a partner here at Purely Provisions.
The name Purely stems from a desire to have food that is simple, traditional ingredients.
And despite being a small business in a quiet town,
Community has really rallied around us already.
he says Round Rock is the perfect place to find new business opportunities.
We have a lot of regulars and a lot of support from the city staff and the community as well.
The overriding goal of all of this was to try and bring more people downtown.
Brad Dushkin is Round Rock's planning director. He says the city has a plan to attract more businesses like Purely Provisions. Downtown is undergoing some rezoning. Walking through downtown Round Rock today, you can see a pizza shop, this cafe here behind you. With the rezoning plan in place, we could be seeing more of these local businesses popping up alongside taller buildings and increased foot traffic.
A property owner could build, up to 8 stories or more if they're closer to the interstate.
But the rezoning also means certain downtown buildings don't have to be used for just one purpose.
They could have retail on the ground floor. They could have a few floors of office as well. Any way that they might want to chop it up.
Out of this world.
While he's happy with the new crowds the move may attract, Shaw hopes the city can keep up with demand.
There's a difficult juxtaposition between growing and keeping the small town charm and feel.
In Round Rock, Joseph Sweeney, KXAN News. Well, if you're looking to vote here on campus, there's a few polling locations here nearby. There's this one right here over by the LBJ school, and another here at the Texas Union. But how many Texans actually come to the polls during an off-year election? Polling data shows not that many. Just over 60% of registered voters cast their ballot in last year's presidential election. That's up from 45% in the 2022 midterms. But for the most recent off-year election, only 14% of voters came to the polls.
Travis County has the highest rate of voter registration in Texas, but unfortunately turnout is still low.
Molly Heichel is the president of Texas Votes, a student organization that gets voters to the polls each November. And she tells me,
local and statewide propositions and policies can affect students a ton.
This year's election could have a big impact.
In some ways more than the larger elections.
The sorts of
items that make their way into these constitutional amendment elections are not geared towards student populations.
Josh Blank is the research director for the Texas Politics Project. He says that while most of these measures won't have an immediate effect on students, it's still important Longhorns get out and vote.
If you plan on staying in the state, if you want to move back home in Texas or even stay in Austin, there are things that are really important on this ballot.
The items Blank says to watch: Prop 4 would allocate more funding towards the state's water infrastructure, something Blank says we currently lack. Prop 14 would create a dedicated research fund for state dementia research, while Prop 13 along with Austin's Prop Q will both impact property taxes, something Blank says could change housing costs for students and Austinites across the board.
These things have a lot of influence over our funding, taxes, our local and state policies.
Joseph Sweeney, TSTV News. Trouble at a College Station football game after a state trooper allegedly shoved an opposing player. The response from the Department of Public Safety coming up. And lawmakers voicing safety concerns regarding the country's drinking water, why a delayed report from the EPA is sparking worry. Today, Austin's Bond Advisory Task Force met with members of the community. They're sorting through their priorities for when the city asks for more money in next year's bond package. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joseph Sweeney. This discussion comes off the heels of the failure of Austin's proposed property tax hike, Prop Q. KXAN's Grace Reader breaks down what voters are saying. Well, going in depth, while a bond election and a tax rate election both raise property taxes, they are not the same thing. The tax rate helps pay for the general fund, that being the day-to-day operations of the city, while a bond is where the city borrows a significant amount of money for major infrastructure projects. That money is then paid back through revenue collected from property taxes. Uproar today at the Texas A&M game against South Carolina. The cameras caught a Texas state trooper bumping into and then yelling at two South Carolina players walking from a tunnel onto the field. Take a look at the video now. The Texas Department of Public Safety later said the trooper had been, quote, relieved of his game duties after the incident. DPS further commented on the situation, writing, quote, the Texas Department of Public Safety is aware of the incident that occurred today during the Texas A&M football game. The DPS trooper involved was sent home from the game. DPS went on to say, quote, our Office of Inspector General is also aware of the incident and will be further looking into the matter. The department's Office of Inspector General is responsible for investigating complaints made against employees. Border Patrol agents started making arrests today in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Department of Homeland Security says it was intended to, quote, ensure Americans are safe and public safety threats are removed. Charlotte is the latest city to see federal agents on its streets after places like Chicago and Portland already saw federal law enforcement deployed. Democrats and environmental advocacy groups are sparking concern. They say delays at the Environmental Protection Agency are putting Americans' drinking water at risk. As Washington correspondent Raquel Martin explains, lawmakers have been waiting for months for the agency to publish a report on certain toxic chemicals. Well, festivals show no sign of stopping here in Austin, with Republic Square downtown transforming into the Panda Fest today. The festival touts itself as one of the biggest outdoor Asian food and culture festivals in the country, complete with more than 40 food vendors and live performances of traditional music. The festival picks up again tomorrow morning at 10, going until 8 p.m. We have more info, including where you can get your tickets, at our website at kxan.com. A new trailhead marks a major step forward in a project decades in the making. What the mayor had to say about the latest addition to the Violet Crown Trail.